when I was a little girl, I wanted to tell stories. Big, gigantic stories. In my family, I'm the youngest of 4 children in my family. And in my family, and the strict Jamaican culture that I'm from, it is believed that children should be seen and not heard. As a matter of fact, while I was growing up, it seemed like all the adults around me wanted me to do was shut up and listen. And so I did. But in my heart, I collected stories, and I locked them up in there, like a pet bird, goldfish even. And so, like I said, I wanted to tell stories, but not just any stories, long animated stories full of color and culture and movement. I wanted my stories to be epic, with adventure, like the stories of the ancient Greeks told in the Iliad and the Odyssey, filled with history, like the stories of the African Americans told in Alex Haley's Roots, filled with fantasy and fairy tale, like the stories, like Jack and the Beanstalk, which is my favorite fairy tale. And let me not forget cunning and trickery, like my good old friend from Jamaica, Mr. Anansi. Anyone ever heard of Anansi? This crazy little spider, always getting into trouble. And at the end of that story, we learned a valuable lesson that kept us out of trouble. And so, yes, I wanted to tell my stories in grand parade and style. But instead, for many years of my life, I was silent. I was silent, and as I said, I collected all the stories that I heard around me. I sat at the feet of my elders and the crazy talking people in my neighborhood, and I listened to their stories, and I believed them. Like a good old Sunday sermon, I believed that everything they said was true. And soon, very soon, all of those stories that I was believing and listening to became mine. Like the stories of children in East and West Berlin, Germany, who were separated by a big, gigantic, gray, graffiti-painted wall. Those stories became mine. The stories of school children in Soweto, running, marching, singing, and dancing for freedom against racism and apartheid became mine. I even took on the story of a most excellent ballet dancer by the name of Mikhail Baryshnikov, who had to leave his home country of Russia so that he could dance a little bit more freely around the world. With his story, I straightened my spine. My name is Akiba Abaka, and I am a director and collector of stories. So, how does a quiet, shy, private little girl grow up to tell big, bold, loud, bright, brilliant stories? When I was in elementary school, I was introduced to the theater. And in the back of an old, dark vaudeville theater, I learned that I could write plays and act in plays and tell everybody all the stories that I was hearing when I had to shut up and listen. And so, today you are going to be introduced to a lot of amazing ideas that are going to change your world, change your life. But I want to share one simple idea with you. For the length of time The world will always need a good storyteller. So ask to tell a story. Something simple like that. Just ask to tell a story. The next time you're on the bus, going to wherever you're going, just turn to the person next to you and say, "Can I tell you a story?" "Yeah, kind of strange, huh? But can I tell you a story?" And tell them a story about how you got to sit right next to them in that chair and how you got to share that journey with them. At the dinner table, tell a story, a good joke, a bad joke, a bedtime story even. Just tell a story. And you are going to find something is going to happen in that moment as you tell a story. You are going to enjoy it. You're going to live in it. And you're going to realize that even in that listening moment, even in the uncomfortable nature of whether or not people are understanding what you're saying, is the story interesting? Even in that moment, guess what? There's another story to tell. So it's simple. Just tell a story. Ask to tell a story. Any story. For the world will always need a good storyteller. Thank you.